Well, how's everyone? Morning. I think what I'm doing is wearing sunglasses to try and convince myself that it's warmer than what it actually is. And to keep pollen out of my eyes, because I'm a hay fever sufferer. So, this is day 2 of the holiday, and here I am back doing videos. I'm hoping to give you a little tour of this place, because look, like I said yesterday, the place we're actually staying at, the chalet, beautiful. The kids picked it, remember? Kids picked it. They wanted to come here. This is exactly where they wanted to come. We didn't pick it. This is where they wanted to come. I'm not trying to pass the buck or blame anyone, but they picked it. And if I was to show you around, you would probably think that we weren't in England, that we were potentially in Beirut. And what this has basically done is taught me that in order to not end up living permanently in a place like this, you have to do well in life. And that's been a lesson. Anyway, straight into the meat and potatoes. You don't want to hear about that. So, look, I spoke yesterday briefly about Jessica Reed Krause and the fact that she has been delving into the Idaho 4 case. And amongst what she had been working on, she had got some insight into what the locals had been talking about. The locals actually at Ground Zero. And look, I said for the best part that they seem to be scared, they don't want to talk, but there are a few little handfuls of people who are coming out and they are talking about things. And those that are talking about things are seemingly singing from the same hymn sheet, should I say. And what are they talking about? So the local narrative, if you like, is this. We talked about the Snapchat thread that had been happening on the morning of this crime that happened, this tragic incident. And we know through what Dave was talking about that this had started off as the stab and then it had gone into an overdose. And when you listen to this, it kind of makes more sense, because what they're saying is this area, because of the narcotic situation, the locals believed that is what it was. They believed that it was most likely going to be related to drugs, because that house was in fact locally known as a drug house. That was the apparent local narrative. And what I will say is, look, I can't vouch that this is absolutely true and honest 100%, because they didn't tell me directly and I'm not at Ground Zero. But I trust some of the people who are talking about it, and I don't think that someone like Jessica would be putting this stuff out if she didn't find some of it credible, as there are things that she will not address, she will not talk about, and she will not elaborate on. But yeah, it would appear that from a local perspective, there is a situation with drugs in Moscow, Idaho, and that house was a large part of it. Now, I said that they had brought up names, and yesterday I didn't sort of say who that was, but I think to myself, look, this isn't me blaming, this is me perhaps bringing attention to that person, and that is Quinn Kelly. Quinn Kelly's name keeps coming up all the time, and I'm not saying the guy's involved in anything, but that seems to be the local narrative, that he is indeed up to his eyeballs in it. And there are people who have vanished off the face of the planet and are no longer speaking. Apparently, the 2 surviving roommates have not spoken to the sorority sisters since all this happened. There has been a complete and utter silence. They are not speaking to anyone. Now, is that true? Isn't it true? Who knows? But if that is true, it seems really bizarre that they are not speaking to anyone whatsoever. Now, the local community are very, very in tune with the fact that it is the university that is pulling the strings, controlling the narrative, and they are telling people that they do not want people to talk about it. And people daren't, because they're scared of what the repercussions are in terms of the university. Will they use their place in the university? If they work for the university, will they lose their job? But they are saying that there is a solid investment in the college to control the narrative, because their financial situation is not quite as strong as some may appear or assume. And it gives you a little bit more of an insight into what is happening in Moscow, Idaho. And look, again, I can't vouch that this is 100%. This is just something that it would appear has been gained from people who live at ground zero, and it does make sense even when you look at what is happening. Like, people are turning around saying, no, Bryan Kohberger could have been involved. They may well have the right person, but even if they've got the right person, the fact that the way he is acting in court with his standing silent could go hand in hand with the fact that he will wait until down the line, until the dust settles a little bit, and then take a plea deal to get out of losing his life. Again, that's coming from people within Moscow, Idaho. At the end of the day, the prosecution team are not working for the families, they are working for the state. So if he stands silent, he's not sort of put himself in a position where he's committed to being guilty or not guilty. Later on, there is still a potential that the state will work alongside Bryan to brush this whole thing under the carpet. And that is what, again, the general consensus is in this area. They feel that the college, the law enforcement are looking to try and brush this under the carpet. At the end of the day, they do not want the reputation of the area tarnished by what happened. And that's why they want the house gone, to get rid of it. It's a reminder of what happened, and they don't want it there. Get it out, get it done, get it gone, and let's move on. We don't want it. They need the money. They need the money. Their running costs are rising exponentially. What they're bringing in the property rates, etc., are only barely covering what it costs to run. So yeah, they need the money. That's what people are saying in that area. Now, take that as you will, but drug house, drug situations, money, cover up, get it done, get it dusted. And that's why perhaps that there are people who might be involved on the peripheral. This could have easily been some sort of drug situation that just spiraled out of control, but Bryan Kohberger was part of it, and he's going to take the hit. And that's why right at the beginning he said, has anyone else been arrested? Because it's a bigger thing. There's a relationship between Moscow and there is a relationship between Washington because of the legalities in narcotics from state to state. And it would seem that there was also, and again, I can't vouch for this, this is just what is being said, that around this time there was a swirling rumour, again apparently, that there was some missing fentanyl pills. And who knows, maybe there was enough to push things over the edge, I don't know. But with Quinn Kelly's name keep coming up over and over and over and over again, and the fact that it seems that despite living in Boise, he had gone all the way 5 hours over to this place, and he was there early, in that early bunch of people who was there before 911 was called. It even adds fuel to that fire even more that he was there to be part of the clear up. Now, is that why Bryan was also there early? Was it just a massive clear up? Someone had to take the fall. Someone had to go down for it. And Bryan was the one. And the rest of them, if they just keep their mouth shut up totally, what's the argument going to be? Especially when you've got Moscow PD trying their hardest to cover it up. You've got the college backing them up because they want it done and dusted. Will we ever know what happened in this place? And will true justice ever really be served? And maybe it is people like Steve Gonsalves who are the only chance that we have of seeing what really happened, because I don't think he's even 100% convinced that there isn't more to this. But the victims deserve justice, and the right justice. Let me know down below what you think. On Friday, the plan is to do a live, and I will go over all the Jessica Reed Krause stuff with you, so we can look at it together, go from start to finish, and you'll learn a lot more. And we can decide together whether it's believable or not. But until then, I'll catch you all in the next one.